What up, everybody? I hope everybody's enjoying their Sunday fun day. Mine will probably be revolving around football and reality wrestling, which I just watched. Summer of Champions Part 4 just aired. And I'll give my little takeaways before I get into the main topics. Quite a bit to discuss. But, so yeah, this was Summer of Champions Summer of Champions 2 Part 4. The final airing of, or the final part of Summer of Champions 2, and then we get on with what was recorded last month, or what was filmed last month. I gotta say, I really enjoyed Hendricks and Ransom, and good post-match promo for Ransom. That was later on in the show. I really like Legion. I like the group and the dynamic of the group and where they're headed and all that. So yeah, man, good stuff. Really loving anytime Abel Andrew Jackson cuts a promo. I just like his antics and whatnot. Enjoyed the Pump Patrol and their promos. Really liked Gustavo and Brian Keith for the TV title. I think that's not going to be the last you see of those two interacting. And I really enjoyed the 8-man. Yeah, it's just good to see all those guys in the ring and whatnot. Yeah, so I was at the taping last night. Really good crowd and a good show overall. And big things on the horizon for everybody. I mean, it's a pretty exciting time for everybody involved with reality wrestling. Or the Row, either way. But I like to say reality wrestling. So, yeah. Yeah. Couple things. You hate to start on a somber note. Chris Knowlton passed away earlier this week. My condolences to his family. My prayers to his family. Seemingly a well-respected guy. I'm not sure. I want to say we crossed paths at one point. But yeah, I mean, irregardless, anytime you lose somebody, you know, it's pretty tragic, you know, regardless of the reasoning behind it. And also I want to give my condolences to Stephen Amador. He's a good friend of mine from high school. Lost his son. Just tragic. Tragic. I shared a link to a fundraiser, and you know, just well wishes and whatnot. You know, losing a child is tough. So, man, my prayers out to him and his family. Just really tough. Really tough. So yeah, real quick takeaway from Raw, or yes, Raw. Just one in particular. Show's kind of going into a certain direction. I think heading towards Hell in a Cell. You know, coming off the MSG thing, which in essence was a house show for all intents and purposes, and you know, I liked it for what it was. You know, anytime you get to see Brock on a big stage, and you know, Cena and Rollins have some great chemistry, and it was great to see Jericho and Owens take on one another. But really, the main takeaway I got from Raw was the New Day and this more serious approach, the way they laid out everybody. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed it because it was something, you know, new, a kind of a new take with the New Day. You know, not necessarily a new direction, because I think they're going to maintain their antics. I don't think the antics are going away. They're just turning up the heat, so to speak. Which is good, that they're not totally like going into like badass mode. That they're still able to maintain the entertainment factor. But really impressed to see them taking out Cena and Ziggler and the Dudley Boys. And I think it's good. It's good. You know, it seems like a reward for these guys who've really made something work, something that they've liked, something that they wanted to put together. You can really tell they enjoy what they're doing. You really just kind of, they connect, you know. I find them very entertaining, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where they continue to go. Three very talented performers getting to showcase a really good side of themselves. And I think anybody who says any kind of, you know, I think Solid Monster, like, I enjoy his podcast, but he did make mention of, like, how the Xavier Woods, John Cena match was kind of a throwaway match, and I was like, man, I was pretty impressed with that match, especially how they went to commercial and came back from commercial being virtually like you didn't miss anything if you had, you know, during that commercial break. They were seemingly in the same spot, even though I'm sure stuff happened. They showed, like, stuff, I guess, on the app and whatnot. But yeah, I really like the New Day, and I think, again, looking forward to where they're going. A couple other things before I get into certain topics. Did go see The Martian. Woo! That was pretty epic. Pretty epic. I don't know of the big space movies that have come out recently, like Interstellar, Gravity, or Martian. The Martian. The Martian to me was like Castaway, you know, meets space travel, you know, pretty much. You know, except he was documenting what he was going through, his confessional, so to speak, or his, you know, his vlog, so to speak. Really well done. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I recommend it to anybody. It's definitely probably one of the best movies that I've seen this year. But again, I'm not sure of those three movies, all three having something pretty unique. I really enjoy Gravity every time I get to see it, and Interstellar I really enjoyed the time that I did see it. But Martian was awesome. So yeah, and Matt Damon, man, awesome. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, think it's a great show. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did see, I saw the very first few episodes, maybe the first half of the first season, and then I proceeded to fall off of it, and now I'm kind of back. It's now part of my DVR to-do list, so really enjoy that show. Another show that I enjoy that really caught me, swerved me, was the Gotham. Wow, I mean they are really doing something quite unique there, and yeah, I sang the praises of Jerome last week on my video, so to see him kind of take it out in the hero and all that. It's definitely something. The fact that he kind of infected the city, and how it's going to be more of an ideology as opposed to a person. And you know, hey, man, it to me, even though it's supposed to kind of be the telling of Gotham in that period after Thomas and Martha Wayne's murder or murders, you know, their take is their take, and I'm really enjoying it. I was really anticipating American Horror Story, its season premiere. That's a show that I have enjoyed. I didn't catch the first season when it first aired. I think I binge watched that. You know, I liked Murder House, and I liked The Asylum, and I liked The Coven, and The Freak Show. I liked them all. I liked The Coven, probably most of all because of the Fleetwood Mac kind of inspiration, having Stevie Nicks, and literally having a music video from Stevie Nicks. Just just phenomenal. And this one's no different, the hotel one. Especially the Eagles, like the Hotel California, like it was like a music video at the tail end that really tied in well, and I'm eager to see where they go with it. I am, much like I'm eager for The Walking Dead that I'm going to be watching later. God, that's cannot wait for that show. I'm a big fan, and I'm a fan of Talking Dead. But back to Walking Dead, I also read Trade 24. Really, it's unique where they're going with it. It's just you're kind of curious. The calm before the storm, and how that trade ended was something, quite something. So let's see if there's anything else before the main topics. Oh yeah. Couple last things. Amy Schumer on SNL. Wow, that was pretty hilarious. The flight attendant skit was probably my favorite. There was probably another one. I mean, they're doing some really good work there, but the flight attendant was pretty hilarious. Documentary now. I up until the season finale, my favorite was God, it escapes me. No, it was, oh wow, it was the Vice one. I thought that one was pretty awesome because of replacing the reporters with guys who looked like them, who were different characters. I thought that one was really good, where they were trying to go after the drug kingpin. But the Blue Jean Committee, I believe, was yeah, I believe that was the name of it. That could be wrong. That's what I have on my notes, unfortunately, but I didn't write them as I watched it. But that two-parter was pretty good. So. Woo! Now, initially I was going to talk about the MSG house show, but then TNA had to go and do something, and piqued my interest. Damn them. So I thought I would talk about TNA. TNA gets a lot of hate. And I'm not going to sit here and say that, hey, they don't deserve it. Because they do. They are hit and miss. Not everything that they do resonates with me. I've missed episodes, not really cared. But it is part of my to-do list for my DVR, so I see it. Now, but they get a lot of flack. And I mean a lot of flack. Now you do have their fan base, and they will defend it. And I may not always agree with what they're defending, but you can't fault them for defending it. They like it. Again, it's always been hit or miss with me. I did not see Bound for Glory. I was interested in what they were going to do with the title, but I anticipated that EC3 would have won it. That was just my anticipation. That the triple threat somehow would create a way for him to retain it. At the same time, I could see someone get it and him not get pinned, and that would be his rationale for going after the title again or getting a rematch or whatever have you. And then when they brought in Jeff Hardy and seemingly stacked the deck against EC3, I was like, well, let's see what happens on Wednesday. I'll probably see the I'll probably see the results. And so when I read the results that Matt Hardy had gone over and won the title, I was like, wow, that's cool. Finally Matt gets a major world title. I mean, he was ECW champion, heavyweight champion, but I mean a world champion in the. Well, no, I guess the ECW title would count. Yeah, no, I mean, hey man, he was a world champion. But he was TNA champion. I was like, wow, it was pretty cool, even though Jeff had gotten involved. So he thought, well, maybe, again, that would be, and EC3 didn't get pinned. I think it was Drew got pinned. So it was like, wow, all right, well, again, he didn't get pinned, so again, he could continue to say that he's, I don't know if he could say he's still undefeated. I guess he would call himself the Unconquerable, which I think is what he's going with, or what they're calling him. But then the reports came out, the injunction. And not the first time that you've heard of an injunction. I mean, Randy Orton did an injunction. But found it interesting, the injunction. And then Matt Hardy released, relinquishing the title on YouTube. Which, now that I think about it, I mean, it dredged up interest. It definitely caught my interest, especially then once they had Dixie and Billy Corgan. And people can say what they want about Billy being in the position he's in within TNA, but the truth is, I don't know. You know, to the guys that have been in the business that would criticize it, it's understandable, because you typically want a wrestling guy to be the, you know, in charge of creative, because you feel like they have an idea. But at the same time, and especially if you're a TV product, sometimes having a TV mentality is better. If you probably look at like Lucha Underground, there's a lot of storytelling elements, but television elements. It's a television show. So, although they have a wrestling mind, you know, brain trust, at the same time, they do, you know, have, I guess, whoever's, you know, really in charge or head writers, you know, a TV person. So, you go back to TNA. Again, I don't have a criticism for the guy. I envy the guy because he's getting to be an executive producer, I believe, for, you know, a major wrestling promotion, and that's a good position to have, so kudos to him. But again, it piqued my interest. Piqued my interest so much that on Wednesday I found myself actually watching the show live, which is something I don't really get to do, or that I choose to do most Wednesdays, depending on what time I can get home. But there are times where I'm not able to get there in time, or I just, you know, there's other stuff I want to watch, play video game or whatever, and then I'll watch TNA at a different time. This was not the case this week. So again, good use of social media, good use of YouTube, kind of using the resources. That's a good formula to use. Again, piqued my interest. I would be curious as to see if their ratings increased, if they got any kind of bump. And then when they came on the air, you know, you see the difference. You know, Pope and Josh Matthews not behind a desk, or standing, you know, behind a desk. They're now standing without anything in a green screen and whatnot, and they bring out this world, what's it called? World Title Series, I believe. Yeah, I believe that's what it's called. So, I like the idea. This tournament style, round robin, point system, kind of giving this perception of true competition, and it is for something, this title, and you've got potentially these other guys that are you know, that are involved, and again, it gives this the gravity of the competition. And I thought having Drew and Bram, I really liked that match. Probably that was my favorite match there. I would probably say Brooke and Gail was a distant, you know, a second to that. And you look at the brackets and the idea that that a knockout could, yeah, World Title Series. I liked it. The winners, and, you know, wins and losses and whatnot, and the fact that they do have the knockouts in the tournament or in a bracket and who they have representing them, I like it. I like it. I'm curious how far they're willing to go with it, depending on who comes out of that bracket. You know, if an Awesome Kong or Gail Kim, and I assume Gail would probably be one of the ones that would make the final 16. I could see Awesome Kong, but it'd be interesting to see, you know, Brooke or somebody like that, just because of how the psychology of those matches moving forward. Because again, eventually they will have a man, you know, this intergender match. It'd be interesting to see how they try to pull that off. And I'd be interested to see if they'd actually pull the trigger and make a knockout a champion or win that tournament. I'd like to see if they would be able to be willing to pull that off. Again, if you're in a wrestling environment and it is your universe, you define the rules, and hey, if say Awesome Kong or Gail Kim or Brooke or Madison Rayne, any of them can pull off the impossible seemingly. What a story! And then TNA with a female owner crowns the first ever female heavyweight champion. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the press? Could you imagine the outrage? And if they are trying to get a new TV deal, wow, can that sway a network to go, wow, the year of and the movement of female empowerment, what an impressive message that you have this wrestling company. Again, they may not do it. I just think, well, what if a knockout were to win it? I'd be fine with it, because I could see what type of reaction they could get. It'd be really kind of interesting. Again, I mean, you could kind of go for broke. It's a diminished roster that you're using, and so yeah, I'm all right with it. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. I don't know if I'll catch every show live. I think it'll depend on the matchups, but I am eager to see where they take it. Another good match was EC3 and Austin Aries. I thought that was one. You know, now that I think about it, that was a good match. I mean, there were quite a few. Even the Grotto Rockstar Spud match was good for what it was. Just kind of interesting to see where they go with it. Let's see. Speaking of TNA, potentially losing James Storm. Now, I heard about him debuting at NXT. I read the reactions for him, quite a few people, and then I read that he hadn't signed a contract. It's still going to be interesting to see what I haven't seen the video that's leaked out there about of his footage, of him debuting. I'm going to wait until they actually air it. That's just another good step for NXT. In my opinion, the idea of an open door policy, the idea of potentially bringing people in there to work, even if it's a 1 or 2 time thing, and for like us, like the Reality Wrestling brand, that would be something, like some kind of cross promotion type of deal. Not saying it would happen. I don't speak upon that. No way. NXT is a brand, and they're doing some phenomenal things, and Reality Wrestling is a great company that's growing. So let's just leave it at that. But anyway, so now to NXT. I did watch, before we get into the 24, the docuseries, the 24 docuseries on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, or NXT Brooklyn, was really well done. I think they do some amazing work, the breaking ground. I'm really looking forward to seeing. Yeah, I just thought that was a really good episode for that. And let's see, you get into the respect. Now, not so much it's just kind of an overview takeaways. Good story for Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. Finn injuring himself and them appearing to be this dominant team. Really like the mechanics. That's what they're called, or have been called. I want to say they've been called that at least in 1 or 2 episodes of NXT. But Dawson and Wilder, I thought that was good. Gotta say, I really enjoyed Rhino and Baron Corbin taking on Jason Jordan, Chad Gable. I really hoped Gable and Jordan had won, and the fact that I'm not the only one had wished that. Like this real tag team, not 2 singles guys put together for the sake of the tournament. But again, when you get kind of the caliber of competitor with both of those makeshift teams, it makes for, and they weren't the only makeshift teams. So, but yeah, that match between between Gable and Jordan and Corbin and Rhino was solid, man. Really top notch, and Gable's very impressive to watch, very entertaining, and Jordan's really impressive as well. And I thought such great. I would have been fine either way with however they went with it. Some definite highlights. Asuka, I had seen just really the highlight packages of her, so I was really unfamiliar with who she was. Unfortunately, just don't watch. I watch New Japan. I watch whatever's out there that I can see, and a lot of times it really is mainly what's on my television. And that's a lot of wrestling in its own right. So, but if I get the chance or somebody has suggestions, suggest to me stuff that I could probably easily get, and I would probably watch it and talk about it if it piqued my interest. But good debut for her. Kudos to Dana Brooke. I really enjoyed Apollo Crews and Tyler Breeze. I think both guys have a tremendous upside. I've been impressed with Crews, his ability, his agility, and then his athleticism. And Tyler's one of my favorite performers on the NXT brand. And I'm not, when you're a villain, a heel, your job is to lose to the up and coming babyface. But I think Tyler definitely, he continues to showcase and continues to impress. Finn Balor and Samoa Joe beating Rhino and Corbin in the finals was cool. It was a great touch seeing Dustin and Cody present that trophy, and again, getting to see Finn and not a turn and no kind of swerve or anything, like a pretty straightforward show. I think works. I don't think you necessarily need a turn if you want Joe and Balor to go after one another. I think it's about mutual respect, and I think that would make for a really great matchup. You can do that. There's no rule that says you have to have a heel definitively, at least going into the match. I think coming out of it or during the match you'll have an aggressor. Probably would be Joe because he's the challenger to Balor. But again, great that there wasn't that swerve. And then the main event, and what a main event. Iron Woman match. I'll call it an Iron Woman match. Solid Monster called it that, but that's what I think everyone would have called. But an Iron Man inspired, at least gear-wise, Bayley, the champion, defeated Sasha Banks in 3-2. And what a match. What a match. I think the great thing about NXT, and what I try to tell anybody who's in the business, who wants to get a true idea of what WWE is looking for, I would look at NXT as that shining example of what they're looking for. so much nuance within the show overall, so many moments that were made organically but purposely. And that is the thing about wrestling, is just making moments, these memories for the audience. And I think NXT provides a lot of that. I think the match itself, the women's match, was just another great example of where WWE, how they're headed in the right direction, and just by the decision to make that, you know, deservingly so. And both ladies, man, probably came out bigger stars because of it. You know, the right person, I believe, went over in the matchup. So yeah, I was blown away by it. I highly recommend it. Like, if you're a fan of wrestling and you want wrestling to succeed, you've got to really reward the products that are good. And now, while I understand people that don't want to give WWE their money, at the end of the day, give NXT your money. Like, whether you support them because it's a good product. Those that say, well, you know, WWE should see what they're doing at NXT and bring that over to WWE. I think WWE is successful and they have a successful formula, and people can discuss the ratings, but I don't know. Ratings, to me, I don't know, maybe it's just a different time. It's just a different age, it's a different way, but at the same time I could understand the reason to be concerned. I don't know if NXT as a product would necessarily sustain 3 hours a week. I just don't know if they have the roster for that. So I don't know if the comparison's really that good in that respect. But kudos to NXT for what they're doing currently, and I enjoy their product. More importantly, my girlfriend enjoys the product, which helps because it gives us both something that we can both watch, wrestling related, and it doesn't make her feel like she has to sit through it. And I would advise anyone sitting through something that they don't really truly enjoy. I sit through Raw because I enjoy it. I sit through SmackDown because I enjoy it. I don't watch stuff for the sake of just watching it. I don't hate watch anything. If I lose interest in it, I just no longer watch it. Wrestling, however, has always been part of my routine. I think part of my just day-to-day life, and I have an immense appreciation for it, an immense respect for it, and I'm still a big, huge fan of it, so I continue to watch it without having a negative feeling towards it. While I understand the criticism and the need for criticism, because that's how we are. At the same time, I like to focus on the positive, and so yeah. Oh yeah, real quick. And in closing, I think Big E said it best on SmackDown when he said, "Eagles booty." Pretty awesome. Oh, and also kudos to Okada and Strong on ROH this week, really delivering a great match. Some great matches at Reality Wrestling as well, whether it was Summer of Champions 2 Part 4 that just aired on the CW, so be on the lookout for that on YouTube. But also all the good wrestling that's going on currently. Some of the stuff that I saw at the taping last night. But oh yeah, next week, Saturday, I forgot to mention this. Reality Wrestling, Spring, Texas, the debut. I think it's at the Klein ISD Multiplex, I believe. But do not quote me. Go to realitywrestling.com or go to the app. Realitywrestling.com is being revamped and upgraded and whatnot, and it's looking great. So yeah, go to realitywrestling.com for more details, or follow us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Periscope. I go to Periscope here and there, but we won't even talk about that. Maybe next time. I'm not sure what the next topic's going to be. You know, I'll have to give it some thought. But if you have any ideas, you know, anything you'd like me to talk about, a specific topic or something of that matter, feel free to let me know. Leave a comment. Send me a message. Send me an email. Send me a text. Whatever. However you want to do it. But as I always like to say, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. Enjoy your Sunday fun day as I will enjoy mine. Until the next time, later.